Fun fact, Ryan Gosling was actually going to be the star of this film.
I felt a great disturbance in the force.
A family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. That's the synopsis from IMDb, and it's kind of right, but it's slightly off. I don't want to say how off it is because I genuinely want you guys to go into this movie not knowing a whole lot. Leigh Whannell, the director of The Invisible Man, Upgrade, does a phenomenal job of bringing you into an experience that is horrifying. I've always been in love with tragic stories, and this one has all the chops of being one, about a dad, his wife, and daughter who are stuck in a terrifying situation. What we see is a slow train wreck of a dad losing it while becoming a monster. Will the family survive the night? I'm locked in. This premise, I could just eat this up all day. Do you guys remember The Dark Universe? You know, The Mummy? Yeah, nobody wants to remember that.
I don't want to remember nothing.
After the massive success of The Invisible Man, the idea got a second life with Ryan Gosling himself pitching a new take on the Wolfman. Now, whether this is the same exact story or completely different, I think he actually has a producing credit, so that's really interesting. He wasn't able to be in this film. He was going to be the leading role, I assumed, but because of the pandemic and just shooting kind of getting pushed and pushed, he had other projects that came up that he obviously wanted to be a part in. More than likely The Fall Guy and Barbie. Great choices. But here we are with Christopher Abbott killing it in this role of Blake, the father and husband. Abbott's performance anchors the film. Blake is a man trying desperately not to become his father and to protect his family at all costs. He's caring, kind, and haunted. You can tell through his eyes that there is something that is bothering him, maybe something from his past that is kind of chipping away at him slowly. You can feel that emotional burden in some of the lines he delivers, every quiet moment, and especially his transformation into the monster that takes hold. It's a nuanced performance, one that balances love and dread as Blake's humanity slips further and further away. And speaking of transformation, wow, the use of practical effects. This is by far some of the best stuff that I've seen in a creature feature, a monster movie. It's bloody, raw, and absolutely terrifying. The sound editing takes it to another level with cracking bones, twisting flesh, and noises that makes every stage of the transformation visceral. What really caught me off guard in a surprising way that made me kind of adore this film is how Leigh Whannell puts us into the perspective of Blake, not just at the end of his transformation, but from beginning to end. From the early stages of his change, you're right there with him, losing the ability to speak, struggling to hear his family clearly, feeling his body betray him with every twist. And when I say twist, you're gonna feel it. There's even this wild moment where Blake hears an amplified sound, and you would think it's like a bear or something that is just gigantic. But no, it's a spider crawling on the wall. Oh, hell no! It's deeply unsettling, and my wife, why do we bring my wife up? Because her opinions matter, and she hates this movie. And by hate, I mean she hated all those gross parts, but she loves everything else. The family piece at the end of the day is the biggest hook to this project, where we have Garner as Charlotte and Matilda Firth as Ginger. We are locked in with this family dynamic as this tragedy unfolds, constantly being reminded that this is a matter of more than just one person. It's a whole family that is breaking apart. And when you get those moments in movies where you're just waiting for the transformation, it's called Wolfman, you're gonna be waiting for the moment where it happens, right? You don't want it to happen. You are desperately wanting to like rewind the film, like the first 20 minutes where everything is sort of kind of happy, even though the relationship between the husband and wife is a little tense. You still would rather have that because you don't want this dad to go through this. And as of right now, Leigh Whannell is one of my favorite directors in a horror sense that can take an idea as simply as a man who wants to protect his family, throw a huge spin on it, and it being a werewolf film. He does the same thing with his other projects like Upgrade in 2018, where a man loses his wife and he starts to evolve into something else. And in 2020, one of my favorite horror films in the 2020s, The Invisible Man, a movie that's really at the end of the day about a domestic violent relationship. Now, I'm giving this movie a lot of praise. I do have some issues, and mainly it deals with the script at times. It's not a bad script, there are just a couple of jarring moments. There's one scene in particular where Blake is giving a monologue to his daughter about how he doesn't want to be a scar in her life. It's not that it's a bad scene, it's just that the movie had already made me feel the weight of that without needing it spelled out, so it felt like there was a lack of trust there. Thankfully, these moments are fleeting, and the tension quickly pulls you back in. Overall, Wolf, Space Man was great. It's a horror story with a deeply tragic twist. A good dad desperately trying to protect his family becomes the very thing he fears most. Leigh Whannell's direction is great, bringing both scares and heartbreak. Sure, the script gets a little messy at times, feeling like the audience is a little too dumb to understand the simple concepts it's trying to portray to its audience. But those flaws are easy to overlook when the rest of the film grips you so tightly. If you're looking for a terrifying ride, this one's worth sinking your teeth into. 8 out of 10. So are you excited for Wolf Man? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, but most importantly, do not forget to be blessed.